Hi guys, Andrew here, and I am here with a couple of great guests. Very excited to introduce them. But before we do, I am Andrew Lawman, and I'm with MarketEdge.pro, and thanks for joining us today. And what we do is we've built a human-centric wealth index to compete in the era of the AI singularity, and why I'm so excited to introduce our next guests here on the show. And I'm with another co-founder, Goodell Olivius, and I'm going to refer to him as G, and we're working on AIBard.com. And so without much further ado, we will bring them to the stage, and they are about to introduce themselves. So Johnny, if you could, please share a bit about who you are and what's brought you into the world of AI.
Sure. I'm Johnny Kessler. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Deja Vu AI. What brought me here is how do we like to think of in the world where we know that there is one that guides our steps, that there is no accidents. And how I ended up in a position to become the CEO. I'm not the inventor of the technology, but I'm the one that's in charge of marketing it. But we ended up in a place where we were we made a friend. I made became friends with the inventor of the tech, and he said we need somebody to bring it to market. And at the time, AI was it was there. There was a lot of buzz around AI, but it hadn't got to where it has been over the last couple of years. So we were kind of right before the swing took over. People started talking about AI generated art and deep fakes and all of that stuff. And as they were talking about it, and we're fortunate enough to have a technology that can be used to add some truth to what's being generated with AI nowadays. So that's how I got here is literally by God arranging things to put me in a place where I have an influence over this company and the partnerships that I have. So,
Yeah, that's fantastic. Thanks. And
mhm.
G, how about yourself?
Hey, awesome. Well, first off, Andrew, thank you for having us. It's an honor to work with you, and of course, work with Johnny over at Deja Vu. It's pretty amazing. About me, well, what can I tell you? I am retired Navy, and also recently retired federal agent. Worked on various cases. The human trafficking space is something that's kind of near and dear to my heart. Obviously, as a man of faith, somebody that really wants to strive to be the best fighter out there, to fight all that and use the tools that we have, including, of course, AI, to really put a dent in it. Never be afraid to get into work that that has no end. Let's of course pray about things and rescue as many people as we can. Yeah, it's just really awesome. I share my personal story, another time, but it's great to really be here and share the stage with just great gentlemen like you.
Great. Okay, excellent. So, Johnny, why don't you take us on a bit of a tour of Deja Vu AI and then just share about the story of Deja Vu AI and how it's become one of the most advanced technologies in this space, where it even is outpacing Google, Microsoft, and Facebook?
So the fortunate thing is the inventor of this tech and my business partner, he had approached those companies and they basically said, well, what you're doing is impossible. And we're kind of like, well, that's kind of like why most things are invented, because you find impossible things and new ways to go. I'm going to try to present really quick. So I'm going to hit share screen and see if I get it. If I don't, we'll just talk through it. So I'm not sure. Nope, I don't think it's going to work. It's going to just show my background. So I think we'll just have to talk through it. My apologies. So
Do you want to email it to me and I'll present it?
I could. Yeah, let's do that.
Okay, great.
So I will set that up right now. We'll just talk a little bit about what the capabilities are. And while I'm emailing that, so what Deja Vu AI is a little different than most other AI. And this is kind of, I think, Andrew, what you wanted to talk about with the singularity of AI and what a lot of people refer to as AI is oftentimes machine learning, is what they call it. They get those two terms are used interchangeably, and they're not always interchangeable. But what you can do with AI, obviously, what a lot of people do with AI is what they call generative. You guys have seen Chat GPT. Write me a paragraph that's based on this topic, and so forth, and it will do the work for you. Basically, that's generative AI that makes decisions saying, I think I know what you're going to say or what you want to say, so I'm going to be predictive and say that. Where our AI is different, massively different than everybody else. That is generative AI. What our AI does is actually deterministic. It tells you an answer. So think of it as you're looking through a sea of data, and often one of the geek terms that we use a lot is unstructured data. And the largest consumption of data right now in the world is images and video. Think, look what everybody's, it's almost astounding to see how many petabytes of data are being uploaded a day to social media platforms. And then having the intelligence to look through that. Right now they're arranging, or they're expecting, kind of like, again, the world why Goodell and I get involved in human trafficking and child exploitation investigations and such, is so much of that data, they have no way of classifying and finding out what's in it. But what our AI does is it allows investigators to find the answer quickly of where did this come from, how was it created, and again, adding that truth to the AI side. So that's a little bit about what Deja Vu AI is. And if Andrew, if you've got the presentation, it should have emailed to you. The first part that we like to show is we bring up an image and we show it to you, and we say, you as a human can identify what this is, what this pattern is, and that pattern recognition is what our human brain does. And that's what my business partner invented, as a way to mimic that pattern recognition. So yeah, the next slide there, right there, you see that picture that's on the left. We can actually, our brain can look at that and say, we see the Mona Lisa. But if you compare this to all other AI, including our friends that Andrew mentioned earlier, they look at that and they give you the wrong answer. But if you go down just a little bit further, Andrew, the solution, we're the only tech on the planet that can take that picture of the Mona Lisa and give you 98% confidence that these two pictures match, and there is a pattern match within it. So that's a little bit about what we do, and then how is it applied. And this is actually where Goodell and I met, was through connections of people doing human trafficking investigations and so forth. And I think those are some of the questions that you want us to go, that you'll ask a little bit later, Andrew. I think you'd mentioned you wanted to go down this path. I don't want to go down too far, but one of those things. Do you want me to go into the deep fakes and that part of the discussion?
Yeah, sure. Unless you want to add anything to what Johnny's saying.
No. He's head on. It's just I want to make sure that Johnny, you emphasize on the different industries that it applies to, right? Not just kind of like narrow or tunnel vision into what we can do. It's that plus, all the different industries, medical imaging, arts and entertainment, the public and safety sector. It's so many applications, right, that Deja Vu can have.
Right. And what a lot of people struggle with is they expect, like, for example, and I'm sure you've all have seen the images of like CCTV video, like security video that draws a box around a person, and that person is walking, and they show the path, and they can use some AI to predict where they're going to go or what their behaviors are. Where we're different is the box that we're going to draw, apply us to that image of that person, and then we'll be able to tell you match that data to another. So apply that data to logistics, trucks coming and going from sites. That's actually a place that a lot of people are very excited, because other AI simply identifies it as a truck, but we're going to tell you which truck. And we're also in communication with other organizations, very, very good Christian run organizations that deal with quick serve restaurants with a drive-through, being able to use a vehicle to identify who's coming to the drive-through and saying, hey, Johnny, you were here yesterday and you ordered this. Would you like the same order again? So those kind of things that make the efficiencies of quick serve restaurants, they make logistics and even the shopping experience of humans better. That's some of the places we're going. And again, in the space of art and entertainment, this can be used for product identification and product placement. And there's a ton of places that it can be used as well, that we're exploring. We're working with other partners to get us to some new markets as well. Goodell, you want to add anything else?
Well, no, I wanted to get into the question, like the business leaders that can use the AI, right? That applies, if it applies to your market. Think of customer service and support. Think of sales and marketing. There's operations and supply chain, HR, talent management. Just so many applications that can be used, for all this, right? And we can get into details. There's obviously the fraud detection and risk management for financial industries as well. There's just so much that it could be. It's a powerful tool, right? And it's just important to note that, yeah, it's not a complete solution on its own. It's just best combined when the experience is there, right? With the intuition of human experts to make it happen. And just organizations need to really build the knowledge right now and get into it, get into the data and the multiple sources to uncover hidden pathways for their business growth, if you will.
Yeah, that's great, G. Is there anything else you want to cover in your presentation, or can we stop sharing?
Not in the presentation necessarily. We could go into more detail, and actually, Andrew, maybe if anybody has those questions or puts them up to you, we're more than happy to go into a full demonstration and presentation to show them the capabilities. But to answer that question that you gave, or that I mentioned, deep fakes. I know that's a big issue because a lot of people are concerned. How do you tell what's true? And what applying technology, just like Goodell said, applying technology and understanding its use case and using it for that use case in conjunction with other things. Because Goodell, your experience, you've got a ton of other AI that all of those, for lack of a better analogy, this is like it's a tool in the toolbox. You've got a bunch of tools that can do a lot of things that can add that level of truth to sort through fake news and deep fakes. There's actually, in my opinion, there's two parts of fake data that comes at us. We all get these posts that come across social media that say, oh my gosh, put this zip tie on this, these bad guys are putting zip ties on cars, and that's actually just to get clicks, get likes and get shares. There's little or no data behind that people are creating. And what they're doing is those stories will resurface. Wait 6 months, wait 3 months, whatever, story comes back, and then everybody gets all excited. Oh my gosh, we got to look into this. You got to watch out for somebody putting a dollar bill on your windshield. That data, by using imagery and video, you can actually sort through and say, somebody has already used this story. This is data that's already there. So that's how our technology can be used to combat the issue of fake news, fake stories, rumors, and even AI generated deep fakes of a celebrity or politician speaking and making them say something. You can look at back at the core of how it was created. So hopefully I didn't go too far down the path that you were asking.
No, you're doing great. This is fantastic. Now, how do you see that playing out as we move forward in the next months, years, where people can start applying that in their own personal lives, like we talked about with families and children, and making sure that their images aren't stolen and then used in ways that are pretty nefarious and dark, or even
Mm.
UG, where you're getting into the human trafficking component of it. How can a family start to engage with this kind of software, this type of technology, and then apply it into their own lives? Like, for example, I just posted an image of my son on Facebook, and my older son said, "Hey, you got to be careful because of deep fakes." And I thought that was pretty apt for the conversation we're going to have today.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Once it's out there, and everybody should know this, but it's be surprised how many people still don't. Like once an image is out there or something you put on the internet is out, it's out there. It's gonna just consider it gone forever. Is there tools to help it bring it down and all that? Yeah, absolutely. We work closely, with the NICMIC, right? And they have a take it down campaign where they'll fight, tooth and nail to get it taken down from all aspects of the internet world, the dark web, darknet, all that stuff, right? But the use cases are right, or how, right? This all happens, and how parents can get involved is to obviously learn the mechanisms of what it can do, and how it can use obviously AI, and how we use it also is the analyzation, right? It analyzes online ads, social media posts, other digital content, to kind of identify patterns and indicators of potential, trafficking activity, child exploitation. Then it obviously helps law enforcement and the anti-trafficking organizations quickly identify, right, victims and other stuff. The machine learning models can be trained on the historical data, if you will, to kind of predict areas or communities of that high risk for trafficking, sometimes based on socioeconomic, right, patterns or migration patterns, as we know some of the stuff that's happening now. It allows the limited resources really to be focused on the prevention and intervention efforts, right? Take that proactive approach. There's that pattern recognition and other computer vision techniques, right, that are out there, that can be applied to images and videos, to just flag conversations or something. Bark.us is something that is really good, and kind of on top of that, and that's like kind of like their game. There's the natural language processing, right? That can analyze a lot of the text, the online forums and chat rooms, to flag the conversations that may be related to any of the nefarious stuff, right? So organizations, parent organizations, parents around schools, right? They should really build the knowledge, create graphs, even, that just combine that data from the multiple sources, and we can obviously help them do that. We can help them establish something like that. It's AI itself is a powerful tool, and if we use it for good, I mean, it can have such a huge impact.
Hmm.
Hopefully, I answered your question there, Andrew.
Yeah, that's good. That's a lot of information right there. Do you have anything you want to add to that, Johnny?
Yeah, I also and to go from where Goodell was headed, I highly encourage parents to never have the mindset of, "Oh, my kids will never do that." As soon as you think that you're insusceptible to an attack from the evil side of the world, that's when you're most vulnerable, because there are people that we know and we have met. That's part of the reason why we've met some of the people that have become investors in our organization. Was somebody in their staff didn't know, but their children were being groomed. And even some friends of ours that have been in the news, you've heard stories that recently that uh, somebody set up a 13-year-old female profile on a social media platform, and within 1 hour they were being groomed for sending pictures that they shouldn't. And then not only that, but within 90 minutes had access to hardcore pornography one click away. And that was, and that's what you can assume is if you're not ready for that and you don't educate your children, you don't keep them and be on the preventative side, because my hope, and I'm speaking for you to Goodell, we don't want to have to rescue kids. We do, and we go help with those things, but we would like it if they didn't even get in that situation. So preparing your kids, and not just kids, young adults and everybody, to understand that, and unfortunately they're using AI in a bad way in some cases, again, like the deep fakes, and they're using their faces extracted from social media platforms to put them into something else. It's just important for parents to never assume that you know the answers. Never assume that you have prepared your kids the best way. You got to prepare them as much as you can. Pray for them, do all of those things, teach them about what to do, but always be aware that they've got influences from other people, and especially social media, that are going to take them somewhere that they shouldn't. Didn't mean to turn this into a educate your kids question, but that's the only thing I like to add is just make sure the parents are aware and that there are people that are trying to do bad things.
Well, yeah, that's fantastic, because a lot of business owners are parents. And so this is a huge concern for many people, for young children, where they're going, what they're getting involved with, and for the older children as well. Now, how soon will it not be available, or some sort of solution where they can log in and then utilize this software, or can they tie into the software and get using this right at the get-go?
Goodell, you mentioned it, right? Bark.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, I'm not advocating for that. Well, I am advocating, but I'm not like in any way in a relationship with them, other than we are users of it, the household, right? And that really searches the algorithm. So if anything that's there involving bullying, cyberbullying, violence, anything that's red flag, Bark has routers, and they have phones that, if you put it on your app and your kid's app, right, or your kid's phone, I should say, they will kind of really immediately ping you regarding that situation, and parents can kind of really be in charge of it. Now, is it a double-edged sword? Yeah, because they could be others, bad, nefarious people can use it, and to know who their kid's kind of talking to and all that stuff, or people that aren't parents or whatnot, right? So obviously you have to be careful with that. Just something to think about. But yeah, that's obviously a good application, to use.
Okay, that's fantastic. That's great. That's some great resources for parents. So jumping in the business side of this, where do you guys see immediate growth for Deja Vu AI? And then where do you see the long-term play starting to play out for you guys?
Immediate growth is we're actually seeing a lot of application in logistics, as mentioned earlier, for tracking, intelligent tracking of goods and services. That's where we're seeing immediate growth, and as well as again, growth within the government, within law enforcement, helping with child or human trafficking, is where we're seeing a lot of growth now. Where we see it going in the future, again, is towards that quick serve restaurant and inventory management that is beyond. And in certain retailers have tried this over the years to try to get an AI platform to do their inventory for them. It's been difficult because they could identify that there was a product on the shelf, but they couldn't identify which product it is. So that's where we come in as a new way of doing that work, to say, I know that is an ibuprofen product, ibuprofen PM on the shelf. I can tell you where it's sitting exactly to help them with that. So we're seeing a lot of growth towards inventory management and logistics. But again, there's a vast application all across the board for a lot of capabilities, including making autonomous navigation safer and so forth for vehicles. If you guys have seen that in the news, that's another initiative that I see as near future, not too far off. We're actually working with those organizations already.
And Johnny, if I may, it reminded me of like a little data analytics world. When you said ibuprofen, when it came to healthcare and medicine, right, which is another possible application that is already being explored, obviously by Deja Vu, and is ready to kind of be looked at further. But it's earlier and more accurate diagnosis, right? Whether diseases, right, using that AI analysis of medical imaging, genetic data, etc. You name it. There's acceleration of the drug discovery and development of predicting, like promising molecules or treatment pathways, if you will. There's personalized treatment plans that could come from that. There's just so much more. AI assisted robotic surgery. I've seen that. It's a little like, oh, I don't know about that, but I've seen it being put to the test, right? Greater precision and like better outcomes. You don't know, right? So it just kind of reminded me of the analysis that we were kind of looking at before on that when you were pinging on that. But Andrew, back to you. Sorry.
No, don't apologize. This is fantastic. This is so great and fascinating. So, I guess, how would a business leader or a small business owner leverage this technology or AI to really accelerate what they're doing? Uh, one of the chairman of Cisco said that 40% of businesses are going to go out of business over the next 10 years because of emerging tech like AI, like quantum computing, like Web3 types of technologies. So, if a small business owner is watching this, how can they leverage your guys' technology or technology like this, like you've done with me, G, where you've dropped and shared some really great info on for me, and it's really helped me leverage that technology to really advance what I'm doing. What would you guys suggest in doing that for small businesses?
Goodell, you want to go first?
Oh, well, thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Well, there's, man, it's just so many, so many possibilities and applications, right? Educate yourself and learn. But before I dive into that, man, I think I want to talk about the risk mitigation of it all, right? There's this is going to require a lot of active collaboration from like between technologies, policymakers, ethicists, just the broader public, right? Because a lot of people are like, wow, AI is scary. Each different type of AI will be governed differently. And I think the answer is how it should be. One of my good friends, Arthur, he just did a speech regarding this or a talk, keynote speaker over at Google couple of days ago. And we were kind of sharing like the significant challenges, right? Safety and control will be adamant and should be of the utmost importance if you apply it to your business or apply it anywhere, government, just anywhere, right? Why? Because of the capability of it becoming more powerful, more autonomous. The human values really need to be there, right? And I applaud Anthropic, somebody that I've been in conversations with too, regarding this, because they are making the constitutional AI. They're making it safe, efficient, as best as they can, right? And they're building like infrastructure that's high stakes to ensure that just proper control and oversight are there. That critical oversight is there. So definitely applaud them for doing that. But again, I covered a little bit of the healthcare and medicine, business operations, of course, just improving just operational efficiency, automation optimization. Johnny covered that a little bit. Enabling better, faster decision making with predictive analytics, with um, simulations of what possibilities there are. Obviously, me being business continuity guy, right, and a continuity professional, disaster recovery for all that stuff. Highly personalized and engaging the customer experience of your business, and whether it's B2B or business to consumer, it's just matter. And identifying new revenue streams and putting the AI into your business models, right? The new innovations that are out there. On the science side, just massive scientific data sets that could be incorporated to better your performance. Of course, the sustainability, right? But we just got to be careful when it comes to all that, because the bias and the fairness, the privacy and surveillance, transparency and accountability. There's automation and job displacement scare out there, right? And we want to ease people's mind when it comes to that stuff. It's just huge positive potential for AI in the different industries. So, Johnny, over to you.
Yeah. To add on to that, because I think, Andrew, what you're wondering is how can small business owners be prepared? The ones that are not prepared are the ones that are going to be in that failure state. The ones that are prepared, kind of think about, back to the Industrial Revolution, or think back to vehicles. Everybody first thought, oh, vehicles are going to replace all the horses. We're never going to see horses again. No. And that's what we need to think about. Our human element of AI is, and this is case in point with one of the construction companies we're working with, is their waymasters are literally that button pusher that waits for something to pull in. They look at it and they push the button. And these are guys with a degree in logistics. And they're like, I'm basically just that button pusher. I want to go do something more meaningful with my job. And they have a skill that can be used somewhere else in the business. So don't think of it. Sure, AI is going to make us more efficient. It's going to do things more efficiently. Even, again, the analogy, or thinking about cars, 100 years ago, it was not easy for most people to just hop in a car and go to the store and grocery shop. Most people, it wasn't as common, but cars, as they produce, they got better, they get more efficient, it's better to use. That's what AI is going to do for us in this. And we can't think it's those that let the people go down the path of AI is scary and it's going to replace all humans. Those are the ones we have to kind of, it's not that scary. We're going to find something that you want to do, not something that you have to do. So it lets the human, and that's the thing that another thing that I believe, God created us with creativity, and that creativity, we can build things, but AI is never going to reach the ability that the human creativity that God built into all of us. And so thinking that we're going to be replaced, our creativity is going to be replaced by a machine, that is just not possible. It's going to get better. You can look at AI generated art, but you can still look at it. And a lot of people look at it and say, yeah, there's no soul in that. There is a need for artists. There's a need for this. So the people, the business owners that are going to succeed are going to find how to adapt this to their business and make it work into their business model and their processes, to find efficiencies, to say, again, think through a drive-through rather than having to have somebody come up to a window, order, and then go park and then pay an employee to take their food out to their car. It's going to be better to get the shop more organized and efficient behind the scenes so that when they pull up to the window, they get their order and they go on their way. So think of it as efficiencies. We're just going to find better ways to be more efficient with the resources that have been given to us as small businesses. That's my belief. There are some that still will stand up and say, AI is going to rule the world. Skynet is imminent. I don't think that's the case. I think we just have to learn how to embrace certain parts of it. And like Goodell said, regulation is necessary. And not to turn this into a go out and speak to your representatives, but we need to make sure that the people that are representing us, that are making laws, know and understand the laws that they're creating that are going to govern the AI, and how is that going to be cross-checked with societal things. So that's my 2 cents.
Well, that's good, guys. You just downloaded and dropped a lot of information there. Okay, I want to do the same on both you guys, and this is excellent because it's kind of at the core of what I see culture and society evolving into is laws. And let's start with China and the social credit system and how they're using AI and deep fake or deep pattern technology, facial recognition technology to grab that information, pull it into a centralized database system, and then create a digital ID around that system so that you are not going to be able to buy or sell without being a part of that system. Now, me and you, G, have talked about holochain and being able to decentralize this data out on a postmodern blockchain solution.
Mhm.
How do we do that in accordance with governments? So, Johnny, you said don't go out to your MP. Well, we didn't want to turn this into going out to your MPs and talking to them, but how do we, as innovators, and bringing that God intelligence into what we're building and designing, how do we go about doing that? So, either you or Johnny can jump into that, and I would love to hear what you have to say.
You want to take it, Goodell, or you want me to?
Thanks, Johnny. Personally, I'm excited about like the potential of decentralized AI. I think it creates more open, what's the word, inclusive, more aligned, like AI ecosystems, if you will. Um, there's risks, obviously, certainly there's risks, but I think the benefits of, what's the word, democratizing. I don't know if I like that word, but giving users more control over their data is of the utmost importance, right? And that's what I think essentially that creates, right? Um, I want to see more of that, like created, developed, uh, deployed in a decentralized manner. There's like clear accountability and value alignment into all of that, right? But the challenges are like, hey, the costs, the quality control, the infrastructure, the governance that we briefly talked about. There's just a lot there. Um, privacy and data sovereignty is of the utmost important to everybody, right? And for that data to remain or be securely shared in the techniques or where we use it, like in our phones, right? It's, it's going to allow individuals to really benefit from that collective insight of the creation of decentralized without compromising privacy or losing control of the data. So to me that's like obviously the most exciting part. But there's transparency and trust issues, the robustness of it, the computing power, the resiliency, and philosophically, right? Philosophically, I think decentralized AI aligned with the broader vision of Web3. I think we'll have a more user centric type of internet. I was actually listening to one of those companies talk yesterday, which was Astonis. It was really awesome. To That's going to be just crucial to realize the potential of Web3, and I'm just the possibilities I think are pretty awesome. And we can get into what I've known a lot of the other tech companies have kind of briefly done and talked about when it came to having a competitive advantage, right? But I mean, I'll leave that for another time. There's just, yeah, we spoke on holochain. We talked about that stuff, and keeping it going, the continuity of it all as an individual, as a business, as everything is of the utmost importance, right?
Mm-hmm. Continuous business
Yeah.
continuity.
Yeah.
Johnny, want to add to what
Sure.
G just said?
The this singularity, or actually decentralizing what Goodell was related to, wholeheartedly believe in that, because who of us wants the wealthiest companies in the world making the decision for what we buy? And we've all seen it. This is what, when AI tends to go out of control and not have regulation on it. And I'm speaking from personal experience on a social media platform, having a conversation with my wife, and the next thing I know, I'm getting an ad on my phone for what I was just talking about. And it has happened too many times for it to be a coincidence. Everybody's heard about it and knows about it in the news. That's what happens when technology is not regulated, and they are able to do those kind of things to you with the data, with your conversation with somebody's happening. But when you have, if I said, hey phone, please show me ads about this, that would be me engaging with that, instead of an AI or a company, one of those big companies deciding what I wanted to see. It would be me saying and giving clearance. So that's what we need, is we need to build into any of these things that the human element of privacy and of your data belongs to you. And if Goodell and I are talking and we decide, hey, we like 1965 Chevys and we both love a red one, I would rather turn around to my phone and say, hey, show me a 1965 Chevy red with big wheels on the back, or whatever it is. Then I get that. But it listening to what I just said and presenting that without authorization, that's what I think needs to change quickly. And that, so that we can protect and not be having this singularity of AI that somebody else is making the decision about what you want to see. So that's just my 2 cents on that matter.
I can point you to the social listening companies, Johnny. I know where they are. I know where they live. Let's go.
You can find them, eh?
That is awesome.
Okay, that's great. So let's jump into the Tim Tebow world. We got to add Tim Tebow to this conversation. What would we be doing if we didn't? And I just would love to hear more about how he got involved in the organization, and why is he in the AI world? Like, what brought him into this space?
Oh, that's all Johnny.
So I'll tell you how we met. We were actually at a conference, the National Child Protective Task Force conference. As a contributing member, we've been supporting that organization for a while, and Tim was there as a speaker. And he approached me after one of the after events, and he said, why isn't this tech in every cop's hands that's rescuing kids? And I said, I'm a small business. I can't afford to do that. And he said, well, I want to help. How can I help? So what they've brought with them, and the reason why he saw this is the investigation capability for rescuing children and human trafficking victims is oftentimes there are little clues, and you can look up some of the videos from the National Child Protective Task Force conversations, and what little clues down to a pack of string cheese that have led to the rescue of an abused child. Not we didn't do the image recognition that did that. That was somebody else, but it's going through that investigation process that says, what are the clues that I have? And so often what people don't know is that data that's in social media, data that's in their phones, that can have clues to maybe what happened to these missing children or human trafficking victims. So that's what, and was, I believe it was one of those God moments that he just heard me talk. He approached me and he's like, yeah, let's do this. Let's get this together and figure out how we can use this. We have specifically asked, we're trying not to have Tim just openly broadcast that he, the term deja vu AI, we don't really want him to have to be telling people about that. He's just standing behind us, giving us the resources and inviting us to events that we want. But he wants the technology to learn to stand on its own, which is what my job is to get it out to the market. But he got involved again because he saw the need. The group that we work with, if you saw his testimony to Congress a few weeks ago, if you haven't, go back to YouTube, search Tim Tebow testimony to Congress. It is an amazing display to hear of the people that were on that panel to what can be done with AI to detect and help find these missing children and human trafficking victims. So that's how he got involved, was putting us in, as part of the Tebow group, and basically a forerunning technology that can be used for these investigations. So, and that's in a way how I met Goodell, was through those connections, and how and basically people of the same heart that are doing good with what God's put in their hands and trying to continue to do good and fight these giants that we're facing, like unfathomable amounts of data, and helping them sort through that. So that's what I'm here to do, is use what God's given me to do in the space that he's given, and find wonderful friends like you guys to help us along the way.
Gee, do you want to add to that?
No, just it's been obviously so far great to work with Deja Vu, and just being a part of the Tim Tebow group is pretty awesome. Tim Tebow group actually interviewed me not long ago, because I was possibly going to grab a position with them and all that. I met with their HR people and all that stuff, and they were amazing. They were just so nice to talk to, and very, very professional on the way they handle all that, and it's just great what they're doing, and to be kind of come full circle, right, in that note, and obviously in the fight to eradicate this horrendous, heinous thing. Meet great friends and make another connection that's like in common was just awesome, right? And so that was super cool. Again, as I'm sure it was crafted by a higher power other than ourselves, right? So yeah, that's what I have to add about the Tim Tebow group. They're just a bunch of professionals.
I'll add something, because Goodell won't toot his horn, but he didn't want to have to move across the country, and he's growing where God planted him, so that's why he didn't make that jump. But it wasn't because Goodell is highly qualified and connected, and I'm honored to be counted amongst people like Goodell. So like
thank you, Johnny.
He won't say that about himself, but I will.
Yeah.
Thank you, Johnny.
G's a man.
Mm-hmm.
Far from it, gentlemen. Far from it.
All right, guys. It's 10 minutes left in this online event here. So, what's the quickest way for a small business to adopt an AI strategy, and where should they focus in on first? And then how do they use that to scale into an exponential organization where they can start to rapidly scale their business? And maybe you'd like to share a bit about your own experiences, Johnny, in doing it, and then how a small business can use these tools to really grow what they're doing.
Well, small businesses, again, if you're an established business that is beyond the seed stage, you're actually in production and you're producing a product, it's imperative to find others like yourself that may already be down the path, that are a few steps ahead. I highly recommend asking other people around you, and asking others, even especially in the Christian community, a Christian business community, to say, hey, I'm going down this path. Where would you recommend that I go? And there are a lot of resources that will help you find, because again, saying small business, we range anywhere from a single consumable product to who knows what. So you need to know what your market segment is, know what other people, and this is what I always like to say. I may not have the answer, but I know the one that does. So ask and say, "Hey, I need help." I just, in fact, saw it yesterday. Somebody said it was a meme somebody had posted that said, "I finally told God I'm done," and He said, "Well, good. Now I can get started." So just remember to ask the question. That's what I would
Wow.
highly recommend for Christians: is ask the question of Him first, and then ask for His guidance, because He will. It's amazing to see, if you went back 4 years from when I started Deja Vu AI and made my garage, sitting in my garage, what it's turned into is just a whole bunch of, there's a lot of faith involved, and just finding those people that will stand with you in faith, and also people, and this is also what I count on Goodell as well. If I misstep or I'm going somewhere, they go, come back to this. You people that are willing to give you hard advice in the right way are critical in the space, for especially when it's dealing with the emergence of AI, and how do you apply it? How do you make it work with a business plan in this very fast moving paced economy and society? So,
Yeah,
Goodell.
that's good.
Yeah, no, very fast indeed, Johnny. It's a great question, Andrew, and I think that would be a good time for people to take notes, because I had charted out something that's really good, right? When it came to the components, whether a small business or business of any size, and how they can adapt it, right? Um, I absolutely believe that every business, regardless of size, should be developing an AI strategy, because, as you said, right, the stats show that there's a big percentage that will be driven out if they don't. I think I'll start off with identifying the high impact use cases for your business on what you could do, right? So if you focus on that, it could be driven to just make big improvements in revenue, cost savings, and customer experience, right? Um, it could be, I don't know, the little chat box, personalized marketing, inventory management, like we were talking about, right? That Deja Vu can do for you guys. Just prioritize that return on investment, right? So that's the first thing. Second thing would be evaluate the data readiness. I'm a big data guy, data analytics. AI requires good quality data to be produced, to be valuable to that business, right? Assess what data the business kind of currently collects. If you need to change that, where it resides, how easily it can be integrated, uh, the gaps in that data collection, the tools, the processes to capture, all of that. That's the second thing, right? Evaluating that data readiness. Three would be, if you're gonna do it, start with off-the-shelf solutions. Um, Unlike large enterprises, right? Since we're focusing more on small business, is that correct? Um, Most small businesses won't have obviously the resources to build that custom AI and all that. But luckily, there's many SaaS AI service, software as a service AI solutions that are pre-trained. There's different models available that could be common use cases to lead and to really score, thorough good analysis, and make sure that they do good forecasting for you, right? If you're going to use that. So you leverage those quickly, and you could put your business in a really good spot. Develop, for owners, co-founders, doesn't matter. Develop AI talent and literacy. Um, I get it. Not every AI small business, right, can get AI, a dedicated data science team, if you will. But it is important to develop a what's the word I'm looking for? Like a base level of AI literacy, and just put it across the organizations. The fundamentals are important. Identify your champions in the organization of AI, and it's just gonna cause your business to augment in just different ways, but you want to augment it in internal capabilities mostly, right? And then the fifth thing, and I have more obviously, but then if you want to learn or hear more, just get a hold of us at Deja Vu, right? But establish the ethical and governance frameworks. Even though there's no governance there, I think it's critical to proactively consider the issues of fairness, transparency, accountability, and establish yourself a clear policies around all of that. The privacy, the consent for data usage, AI usage, regularly test for that bias there as well, and document obviously those key processes for the decisions that evolve around the responsible AI processes, right? And I have more, right? Measuring and then aligning the business strategy, but we can definitely help you do that as well. So yeah, hopefully I didn't take too much time there, Andrew. Sorry.
No. You don't have to say sorry. That's fantastic. So we
And I
got
want
Johnny. Just wait, Johnny. So Johnny dropped the AI, the almighty intelligence,
Oh
and
my
G
God.
just dropped the PI, the practical intelligence. So yeah, jump in, Johnny.
well, what I wanted to say was, and also as a leader, and I'm saying this because this is why I surround myself with people like Goodell. Find people that are smarter than you, and then they'll help you do your business. So that's what always look for the champions like Goodell, people like that can say and help with execution of the vision and with the process steps, because process is so important to say. And I mean, every recipe, every good meal requires a recipe. You can throw things together, but you got to know the basics of it. So definitely, and thank you, Goodell, for spelling that out. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's great. And you can also engage us through AI Bard, AIBAIRD.com, if you want to get some of this training in your organization. With the last minute here, do you guys want to, Johnny, do you want to close this out and just finish it off with a few last thoughts?
Sure. Well, I am honored to be here. Thank you again, Andrew, for the invite, and always excited to talk to people about geeky stuff. And hopefully, I didn't make it too geeky, but thank you again for the opportunity. And if any questions, you can shoot them up over to us at Deja Vu AI, and we'll throw things back over it again. We're constantly exchanging data with Andrew and his team over there at Market Edge Pro. So thank you for the opportunity.
Yeah, and our cross pollinator, G, the bee man. And with that said, we'll close it off. So thanks a lot for joining us, guys. Thanks for the listeners online and anyone who watches this after. You can reach us at marketedge.pro, Andrew at Market Edge Pro, and I can get you connected with the right people like Johnny and G. So have a great day. Thank you very much. And we'll end it at that.
Okay.
Bye, guys.
Thanks. Bye-bye.